Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Ainur Aida and I'm a student of English Education Department, Part A, and we are from Group 6, Philosophical Basis of TEFL Methodology, and we will explain about mistake and feedback. And the first material will be explained by me. So the first material is student makes mistake. Uh, so feedback not only includes correcting students but also assessing how well the exercise they have done. The way we judge and correct will depend not only on the type of mistakes but also on the type of activities that students undertake. And what often makes teachers confused is that students always make the same mistakes, but some students correct themselves more easily. Julian H. suggests the teachers that divide mistakes into three categories. First is slips. Slips is the mistakes that students can correct themselves. And the second is errors. Errors is mistakes which they cannot correct themselves. And the third is attempts. Attempts is when students tries to say something but doesn't yet know the correct what to say it. First language interference. Students who study English as a second language, surely they already have an in-depth knowledge of their first language, and where the first language and English is related to each other, and there is often confusion that triggers the mistakes of English learners. For example, Japanese students have problems using articles because Japanese people don't use the same reference system, and so on. And then development errors. A child experiences errors in saying or composing grammar because they don't know how to pronounce the correct one. But over time, that child starts to say correct grammar because they have a broader understanding. This is called language development. Similarly, foreign language students also make the same development mistakes. When second language learners make mistakes, they show part of the natural process of language learning. And when responding to mistakes, teachers must provide feedback rather than telling their students wrong. Assessing students' performance. The teachers assess students. Teachers assess students can be explicit and implicit. The assessment given to the students, they receive it in the form of praise or criticism. Indeed, one of the roles of the teachers is to encourage by praising the result of students' work. By if giving too much praise is not good. And giving praise must also be accompanied by sincerity. There are several ways to assess students' work. First is commenting on students' performance can occur inside or outside the classroom. The teacher can say or comment on good things or not in an agreement. This is a positive assessment. But if you want to give a negative assessment, the teacher can do it subtly. And second, mark and grade. Students are always curious about the result of the effort they have done. When students get good grades, their motivation is often positively affected, provided the level of challenge for the assignment is appropriate. Even bad grades can be very disappointing. Some are motivating and conversely, some are missing. If the teacher wants to give the grades, Then the teacher must decide on what basis the teacher gives the big or small value to the students. And the third is at the end of the semesters or year, teacher write reports about the performance of their students. The report must provide a clear indication of how well students complete their work and provide a commensurate assessment of their prospect. Then the students also have the right to know what their weakness and strengths they have. And last is students can also be extremely effective at monitoring and judging their language. And also students can be given material to guide them in making their assessment, such as making checklists. So maybe that's all from me. The next material will be explained by Fafa Hamzah Afangi. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Fafa Hamzah Afangi. I want to explain about feedback during oral work. So feedback, both assessment and correction, can be very helpful during oral work. Teachers should not deal with all oral production in the same way. The questions about how to react to performance will depend upon the stage of the lesson, the activity, the type of mistake made, and the particular student who is making. And next, accuracy and fluency. A distinction is often made between accuracy and fluency. We need to decide whether a particular activity in the classroom is designed to expect the students' complete accuracy, as in the study of a piece of grammar, a pronunciation exercise, or some vocabulary work, for example, or whether we are asking the students to use the language as fluently as possible. Most students want and expect us to give them feedback on their performance. For example, in one celebrated correspondence, a non-native speaker teacher was upset when, on a teacher training course in Great Britain, her English trainers refused to correct any of her English because they thought it was inappropriate in the training situation. There was a principle at stake. The immediate and constant correction of all errors is not necessarily an effective way of helping course of participants improve their English. The trainer replied on the same page of the journal. This exchange of views explains his current attitudes to correction and some of the uncertainties around it. The received view has been that when students are involved in accuracy work, it is part of the teacher function to point out and correct the mistake the students are making, a stage where the teacher stops the activity to make correction. And next, feedback during accuracy work. As suggested at the beginning of this chapter, correction is usually made up of the distinct stage. In the first, teacher shows students that a mistake has been made, and in the second, if necessary, they help the student to do something about it. The first set of the technique we need to be aware of, then it's default to showing incorrectness. These techniques are only really beneficial for what we are assuming to be language slips rather than embedded errors. The students are being expected to be able to correct themselves once the problem has been pointed out. If they can do this, however, we need to move on to alternative technique. And the first, showing incorrectness. This can be done in a number of different ways. Repeating. Here we can ask the student to repeat what they have said, perhaps by saying again, which, called with intonation expression, will indicate that something is not clear. Next, statement and question. We can, of course, simply say that's not quite like, or do people think that's correct, to indicate that something has not quite worked. And next, reformulation and underrated correction technique is for the teacher to repeat what the student has said correctly, reformulating the sentence but without making a big issue of it. For example, student, I would not have arrived late if I heard the alarm clock. Teacher, if I had heard blah 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 blah. Student, blah 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 if I had heard the alarm clock. And next, getting it right. If the student is unable to correct herself or respond to reformulation, we need to focus on the correct version in more detail. We can say the correct version, emphasizing the part where there is a problem. We will then ask the student to repeat the utterance correctly. Sometimes we ask students to correct each other. We might say, can anyone help? And hope that other student know the correct version of the utterance, after which the student who made the mistake should be able to say the sentence, question, or phrase accurately. And next, feedback during fluency work. The way in which we respond to students when they speak in a fluency activity will have a significant hearing not only on how well they perform at the time, but also on how they behave in fluency activities in the future. Nevertheless, there are times when we may wish to intervene during fluency activities, just as there are ways we can respond to our student once such activities are over. And the first, gentle correction. If communication breaks down completely during a fluency activity, we may well have to intervene. If this is just the right moment to point out a language feature, we may to prompt them forward. Even though it hardly interrupts their speech. For example, student, I'm not agree with you, blah 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 blah. Teacher, I don't agree, blah 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 blah. And student, I don't agree with you because I think blah 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 blah. Overuse of even gentle correction will, however, be counterproductive by constantly interrupting the flow of the activity. We may bring it to a standstill. And next, recording mistake. One of the problems of giving feedback after the event is that it is easy to forget what students have said, as in the following example: grammar, words and phrases, pronunciation, appropriacy. Another possibility is not the teacher to transcribe parts of the recording for future study. However, this takes up a lot of time. And next, after the event, when we have recorded student performs, we will want to give feedback to the class. We can do this in a number of ways, or as in the example above, we can write both correct and incorrect words, phrases, or sentences on the board and have the student decide which is which. Another possibility is for teachers to write individual notes to students, recording mistakes they heard from that particular student with suggestion about where they might look for information about the language in dictionaries, grammar books, or on the internet. Maybe enough from me, and next material will be present by Elida. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, and the last materials is about feedback on written work. In feedback on written work, there are written feedback techniques. Jadi, feedback techniques itu kita tidak hanya memberikan koreksi kepada siswa yang telah menulis karyanya dengan memberikan koreksi betul salahnya aja, tapi kita sebagai guru juga harus memberikan respon kepada siswa tersebut. Misalnya kita memberikan komentar yang berisi tentang apresiasi kepada siswa tersebut. Misalnya, saya sangat menyukai tulisan kamu karena tulisan kamu dapat menginspirasi banyak orang, juga kata-katanya itu dapat dipahami semua orang misalnya. Nah, baru di situ kita dapat mengkoreksi kesalahan yang dibuat oleh siswa kita. Misalnya grammarnya itu tidak konsisten, jadi kita harus membenarkan bahwa grammarnya itu harus konsisten, tidak boleh di kalimat awal grammarnya itu misalnya past tense, terus di setelahnya present tense, gak boleh seperti itu, tetapi harus secara konsisten, misalnya seperti itu. Di dalam buku Jeremy Harmer juga ada contoh tentang giving the response for the students. Nah, di sini dituliskan di kalimat pertama dia menuliskan, I really enjoy reading your draft. You have some good expressions. Nah, di sini juga dia menjelaskan bahwa dia sangat senang sekali membaca tulisan karya siswanya. Jadi kita harus memberikan dulu apresiasi terlebih dahulu kepada siswa kita agar siswa kita tidak ngedown. Baru setelah itu kita dapat memberikan komentar mana yang salah dan mana yang benarnya, seperti itu. This type of feedback takes time, but it can more useful to the student than a draft cover in correction marks. Nah, jadi si teknik ini itu dapat memakan waktu yang banyak, tapi bakalan lebih bermanfaat juga bagi siswa, karena siswa tersebut dapat mengcover lagi koreksi yang telah kita buat. Jadi si siswa juga dapat tahu mana yang salah dan dia dapat memperbaiki kesalahan dia. When we respond to a final written product, we can say that what we like, how we felt about the text, and what they might do next time if the students are going to write something similar. Jadi respon terakhir dari kita memberikan komentar kepada siswa kita apa yang kita suka dari tulisan dia, kemudian bagaimana perasaan kita ketika membaca tulisan dia, dan apakah mereka di lain kali akan memberikan perubahan ketika menulis sesuatu yang sama gitu. Kemudian teknik yang kedua adalah coding. Some teachers use codes and can then put these codes either in the body of the writing itself or in a corresponding margin. Jadi beberapa guru juga ada yang menggunakan kode untuk memberikan koreksi kepada siswa. Nah, jika menggunakan kode ini mungkin akan lebih praktis ya, dan lebih simpel. Misalnya ada simbol, bisa dilihat di buku Jeremy Harmer, ada simbol S. S itu means incorrect spelling. Jadi jika ada spelling yang salah, kita hanya menuliskan simbol S di atas kata yang salah tersebut spellingnya. Kemudian ada juga simbol WO atau wrong word order. Jika ada
yang kalimat yang salah dalam penempatannya, kita juga dapat menambahkan simbol WO di atas kata tersebut dan lain sebagainya. Bisa kalian lihat di dalam buku Jeremy Harmer ya, seperti ini. Nah, ketika kita menggunakan codes atau simbol tersebut, berarti kita dapat mengkoreksi kesalahan teks yang telah siswa kita buat dengan menunjukkan simbolnya. Jadi si siswa tersebut dapat memperbaiki kesalahan-kesalahan mereka. Nah, jika kita ingin making sure that they are quite clear about what our symbols mean, kita harus menggunakan demonstration atau kita giving an example biar lebih clear lagi dan biar siswa kita lebih mengerti lagi gitu. Kemudian yang terakhir ada finishing the feedback process. Nah, kita ini memberikan feedback tidak hanya sekedar untuk mengkoreksi saja pekerjaan dari siswa, tetapi kita juga dapat membantu dan mengajari mereka tentang bagaimana cara menulis yang benar dan bagaimana yang salah. We give feedback because we want to affect our students' language use in the future as well as commenting upon its use in the past. Terus ketika kita merespon first and second written drafts of a written assignment, we expect a new version to be produced which will show how the students have responded to our comments. Jadi di sini feedback juga merupakan bagian dari learning process, dan feedback itu tidak memakan banyak waktu atau tidak menghamburkan waktu. Jadi feedback proses itu is only really finished once they have made these changes. Seperti itu. Oke, mungkin sekian dari kelompok kami. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.